How's it going? I'm Ryan. Today I'm going to go over the 4 trades I took on MNQ. I had 3 wins, 1 loss, lost pretty small. Overall, really decent day. But let's get into what I was watching coming into the day. So we have MNQ on the hourly here. We can see that we had yesterday's high a day and the all-time high, previous all-time high here. We had this zone that I was watching around like 2762 to 2769 or so. To the downside, we had a zone that didn't really come into play, and then we had yesterday's low of day, which didn't really come into play. But what I was watching is potential rejections up here, potential bounce down here, or if we broke to the upside, setting new highs just to trade the trend and try to pick up a dip and grab longs and try to ride the trend. So I was looking at coming into the day. Let's take a look at some of the trades I took. So I took one right in the morning, right off open. Reason being is we had back this up so we can see price action from yesterday. So I was watching as we were approaching this all-time high area in the pre-market. This is right, before we open, about an hour before we open or so, leading up to the opening. And I'd marked this zone as an area to watch for rejections. And I noticed that we were failing to break further. We had a pretty defined resistance in here, but we also had a pretty defined support right around like this 207.50 or so. And looking back, I saw that we also had the support yesterday when we had this big break and sell off, as well as that area was a bit of a resistance here. So I saw some potential rejection, and then I saw us forming a base and waited for that base to break, which it did right off the open. So I was waiting for a break and close on this higher time frame. This is a 5,000 tick chart, kind of similar to like a 5-minute in terms of price action. So waited, we broke through, we came up and retested this area, and that's where I entered. My target was down, I believe, right here. No, excuse me, it was right here. This was my original target. It was a 20-point move from where I entered. I entered around like 50. I was going for 30. So 750 to 730, about a 20-point move. My stop loss was, if I remember correctly, I had a 10-point stop loss. So it was somewhere up in here, around 60. So I was looking for about a 2-to-1. Unfortunately, when we did break down, we got this retest. I entered. When we started selling off, I moved my stop loss down too quickly. And this is something that I'm observing with myself, learning how to trail a stop loss appropriately so I don't get stopped out too early. But we came up after we made this move down. I brought my stop loss 10 points or so into profit. We popped back up and stopped me out. So I just brought it down a little bit too aggressively. I probably should have moved it to break even and then just tried to let it ride until I have some sort of price action to base that stop loss off of, rather than just arbitrarily bringing it down. So got stopped out. I didn't get the full move, but it was a decent little trade. Watching for that rejection, that break of the base that we had established in the pre-market, the break, the retest, it's almost too perfect. So that was really solid. I wish I captured a little bit more of it, but it is what it is. Then we come up, we start to form like a bit of a flag at the all-time highs, break it temporarily, a little bit of a fake out. I drew this resistance, and I actually tried to take this trade, but I did not. So this is not one of my trades, but the one that I was watching. You see we get that breakout, that break of yesterday's high, the break of that flag. And maybe get the retest down in here and try to ride that. That would have been a decent little, 20, 30 potential point move. So that is one that I tried to take, didn't quite get filled on my entry. I put a limit order and it just didn't hit it. So the next trade that I took was a loss, and I took a long position right here after we've closed this hammer right in this area that we were seeing as resistance, pretty much that pre-market high. And then we saw some rejections off that area in here as well. We even saw this candle wick down into here before setting the daily high. So coming down into this zone, holding it with a hammer, I entered here and got stopped out. My stop loss was below this wick, so I was risking about 9 points, I think my stop loss was for my entry. So not too bad. I was just targeting this point right here, kind of this where we had the latest wicks, and that was 783 or so. I entered somewhere in here, so we'll call it 70. About a 13-point move for about a 9-point stop loss. So I was looking for a quick scalp on the way back up. Figured I was playing the trend. We'd been pretty strong, making higher highs, higher lows. I was seeing this as a potential higher low from these lows here once we broke that all-time high. So yeah, just looking to play the continuation. Like I said, I was going to, if we broke up higher and continued an uptrend, I was just looking to capture that. But that one didn't work. But that's why we have stop losses. I'm glad that I followed my stop loss. I had a pretty clear defined stop loss, with that being that strong hammer there. Figuring that if we broke down from there, that it wouldn't hold. And we did get a little bit of chop around in here before ultimately breaking down. But that was my second trade. Stop loss kind of saved me on that one. Not mad. I like that setup a lot. I felt like that was playing the plan of the day and playing the trend, so that was cool. My third trade, and this is where I made the majority of the profit today, was this same 207.50 level that we have here that I took early in the morning. You can see it played out throughout the day, right? We have a hold here, we have a hold here, a hold here, we have a hold here. When we broke it on this move down, so we broke it, I waited for that close on this higher time frame, close below. We came up and retested here. I entered on this retest. My stop loss was just above this candle wick, so I saw that we had also had some valid price action in this area at the bottom of this zone, around 20,762 or so. So I knew that there was potential that we could come up and retest this area again. So I moved my stop just a little bit above. It allowed me to have stay in this trade and hit my price target, but it also caused me to have a little bit more risk. And that's something I'm kind of learning with NQ, is sometimes you have to take, with how much it moves, you can get really great moves to your side, but you can also get stopped out if your stop is a little too tight. So trying to find that balance. I usually try to base it off of price action, such as below this wick. When I see a lot of rejections up in this area, knowing that we could retest, so slightly above that. But that kept me in it. So we came up here. I was in the red a little bit, but held on, came down. My stop loss was at the bottom of this wick here. It was about what was that? I think it was about 13 points, something like that, for my entry, because I entered here. Could have got a better entry had I waited, but can't get perfect on every one. But yeah, take profit right down here. When we swept down, hit my take profit. That was with 10 contracts, so that was like $250 dollar profit, or 260 or so. That was, yeah, I think it was about $260 profit. It was pretty nice with 10 contracts. Then, yeah, so that'd be 13 points. That maths, we check out. The fourth and final trade that I took was a long, and this is one that I'm kind of kicking myself looking at. I took a long somewhere down in here around 20,710. And then we did this. I did not get that, though. My runner was stopped out on this pullback right here. So I'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to pull up the hourly chart so we can see why I took this trade. First of all, I want to pull up all time frames so we can just be seeing what we got going on in here. All right. The reason why I took this is because on the hourly, you see we bounced really heavily from this level twice this week. So got a big bounce there, big bounce there, and then we have kind of this consolidation in this area as well. But if I look at where these wicks are, and then you look at where this candle is, it's pretty much perfect to the T, low a day. So basically, I was just watching all the time frames. I was watching a sell off and come down here. I was thinking, where could we bounce? I saw these really strong wicks in this area, and then I saw price come down and wick into this area, and hold it. You know, we got this candle, came and wicked down, held it, then we came down, kind of held that bottom, and I entered on this candle here. So after we got this wick here, I entered. I was down maybe a few points from where I entered. But my entry is pretty strong. I also had the cumulative delta indicator. You see that we had a really positive price action response, but the cumulative delta, you see that the selling kind of slowed down and the buying was also not really well represented, even though it was in the price action. And then we kind of just moved sideways for a little bit, a couple minutes, and that gave me some validation that we weren't going to break lower. At that point, I put my stop loss below low a day. I took this with 2 contracts, by the way, really light size, because this was riskier, right? It's catching a falling knife. And I was just looking for a bounce. I wasn't trying to, I didn't expect that big of a move. But yeah, once we started to base here and this started to round out the cumulative delta, it looks like we're going to make our way up. I bought 2 contracts, like I said. I sold the first one at about 10 points. So that I could just set my stop loss and not really worry about it and know that no matter what, I can lose money. And then just let one contract ride. I was targeting that same 2,000 or 20,750 that I've taken a couple trades off before. So this was my initial, or my ultimate target that I didn't get to. Price did hit that. But like I said, I got stopped out here, and that was just moving my stop loss up too much. What I was doing is I was basing it off of this smaller time frame, right? And each time we'd have a little pullback, that's where my stop loss would be. So then we came up, had a little pullback, move higher. I placed my stop loss right in here. So we came down and stopped me out, just barely. I think my stop loss was like 20. Maybe I put it 25 or 24, somewhere in here. But we stopped out by a few points before we got that continuation. So rather than placing my stop based off this lower time frame, I think following this, placing it at break even, or slightly above break even, and then waiting for a pullback to happen on a higher time frame to base the stop loss off of. If you see, once we're in an uptrend, we don't break the higher time frame pullbacks. So could move it up to here ultimately, then move it up to here, and then depending on where your take profits are. But yep, just started to move the stop loss up a little bit too soon and got stopped out, but did catch not quite the bottom. I got in once we bounced. So I was about like 10 points off the bottom, and my stop loss was about 10 points when I put it at low a day. So low a day is here, and I got in around like 12, somewhere in here. But insane. I mean, we moved crazy off of that. Absolute nuts move. If I would have captured, I mean, I had no idea. But even still, had I gotten filled, that would have been like over a 40-point move. But that run is pretty amazing to think that I actually really nearly caught the bottom of that, but just didn't get it. So I'm still learning. Gonna practice leaving runners. That's something that I want to do, especially as I'm starting to take a little bit higher contract size. If I'm taking 10 contracts, it'd be nice to leave like 1 or 2 and just let them run. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. I trade live all week, so I'll be here closing out the week. Hope to finish it strong. The account's almost back at break even. Had a losing day one day. Yesterday I made about 200, today a little over 300. So trying to get it back. All right. Appreciate you. Have a great day. Peace.